Key point 1. The danger of taking away children's sense of control. Parenting consists of many intricacies filled with various pitfalls and joyful moments. Raising a healthy human who will know how to be happy and function well in society is not an easy challenge. But don't be scared. With enough knowledge and kindness, you'll manage to master this challenge. One of the core concepts in parenting is handling control. Sometimes we think imposing our choices on our children is easier. We want them to do the right things without mistakes, so we try to control everything they do. From a young age, children need to learn control and independence. They need to be allowed to make mistakes and learn from them. Through research on stress and motivation, Stixrud and Johnson realized that a perceived sense of control is a significant determinant of a child's development. They concluded that a child with a poor understanding of being in charge could become stressed and unwilling to do any assigned task. Conversely, when children have a healthy sense of independence, they develop in many areas, such as autonomy, the ability to make an informed decision, and motivation. Generally, people perform better when they control events or believe they can change. The core idea is such: you can't control your kids. Instead, focus on teaching them how to do things and think independently. It will greatly help them succeed in life. Children have brains and should be allowed the freedom to use them. They only need your support. They also need respect and space to understand their tasks. Stay tuned to discover tips and tricks to being the best parent possible. Learn how to teach your kids to handle stressful situations and the most efficient ways to encourage their self-development. Key point 2. Effectively handling stressful situations. Constant stress is detrimental to the brain. It's even more severe for children because their brain is still developing. Also, rates of illnesses caused by stress are at an all-time high, and several pieces of research show that depression is now the leading cause of disability worldwide. You might wonder what a sense of control has to do with depression and stress. The answer is everything. There are various sources of stress: novelty, a new experience; unpredictability, something you have no idea would occur or not; a threat to the ego, if your safety or competence is questioned; lack of control, when you think you have no control. When people feel in charge of a situation, their stress levels substantially reduce. This tendency explains why some people are more comfortable when they're driving than flying. It also explains why traffic jams are so annoying. Kids often argue that they can't do their daily tasks alone because they want to control those activities. So step back and let them do these tasks. This way, they get to do the important things without any fuss. People tend to perform better when they're at peace, with no one watching their every move. When children have perceived control of their lives, they have better appetites and improved physical and mental health. Children will always need supportive adults around. With time, they will recover and have a sense of control. It's your job to teach your kids how to handle stress. How do you do this? There are several ways. 1. Show your kids the importance of having open conversations about things that bother them. Talking about their problems and analyzing them increases self-awareness and reduces anxiety and helplessness. Allow them to rant when needed and don't offer unsolicited advice. 2. Explain to your kids the importance of caring for their mental health. Teach them to journal their thoughts and experiences. 3. Introduce them to physical ways of handling stress. This may include exercising or walking. 4. Demonstrate to your children the freedom of laughter. Life is absurd, and sometimes the only thing you can do about an unpleasant situation is to laugh about it. Key point 3. Avoid embracing the role of dictator. Kids don't really have that much hate for homework itself. The pressure from parents and teachers is what makes them stressed. When a parent keeps forcing their child to do their homework, it sounds like they know what's best and the child doesn't. Most children then try to assert their identity by not doing their homework. Loving parents see their child's capabilities and how the pressure they put on their child to work hard in school will make their child successful. This shows parents good intentions, but it's a path to failure. The more you try to control your children, the more they need to be pushed because they won't develop internal motivation. Don't view yourself as a faultless guardian. Adopt the role of an advisor. Consultants give advice, communicate with their clients, and are committed to their clients' goals. As a parent, your first instinct is to protect your child, but your child is also a person, and you need to acknowledge this. You must realize that the things you fuss about are not always about you. Getting your kids to do what you think is best will ruin your relationship and waste time. You cannot force your children to do something against their will. When you come to peace with this reality, you'll feel the pressure ease off. People think the only two types of parenting are autocratic, rigorous, and permissive, fulfilling all their children's desires. Still, there's a third type, authoritative parenting, supportive but not controlling, which is the most effective approach. Instead of asking, "Do you have homework tonight?" ask, "Is there anything you'd like me to help with this evening?" When children make decisions independently, their brain develops in new ways. That's how they build the strength to handle stress. For a child who has never handled stress independently, those situations will seem like terrifying creatures in their young mind. But if a kid has had some exposure to tricky experiences and handled them independently, they'll realize the power of resistance. The parent-consultant model can take some time getting used to, but it is worthwhile. Key point 4. Children can adapt quickly to moods. It's normal to get anxious when your kids try new things. Research shows that while parents have worried about their children's safety before, it's worse now because thanks to social media and the internet, kids can get information on any topic imaginable and use it in whatever way they want. You need to understand that your anxiety can rub off on your children. Studies show that when you can manage your stress, your parenting is more effective. Some children are not bothered by the stress stimuli around them, while others are pretty sensitive to it. Anxiety is hereditary, and up to 50% of children with easily perturbed parents have mental health disorders. One way parents pass their anxiety to their children is through epigenetics, how some experiences turn genes off and on. So even though a child may have a genetic disposition, they must experience some events to turn those genes on. Problematic genes pass on in two ways. Secondhand stress. Some people view even the most minor issues as big tragedies, feeling anxious over everything. It's easy to catch stress like a virus. When children see their parents worry, they copy the behavior. Secondhand stress can last longer than stress that's not influenced by others. It can also affect a child's genes in the womb by permanently turning on the stress response gene. Behavior. You can turn on your child's anxiety genes through your behavior. A study done by Johns Hopkins researchers showed that if you avoid certain behaviors, you can prevent the stimulation of those genes. On the flip side, your children can mirror your calmness. When you're not unduly anxious or worried about something, you exude a non-anxious presence. Edwin Friedman, a student of complex systems, rabbi, and consultant, discovered the term. Friedman propounded that it's best for children when parents are sincere and are not unnecessarily worried. Always remember that it's your child's life, after all. You need to let them learn how to manage discomfort. You can be a non-anxious parent by handling stress properly. Simply enjoy your kids, instead of focusing on being a parent. Also, do not overthink the future, but try to enjoy each moment. Not all your fears are valid. You should make peace with that. Key point 5. The value of self-motivation. Children need self-motivation that will help them through the long term. Research shows that frequently rewarding your kids for what you want them to do can be damaging. Motivation has 4 primary ingredients. The first is the right mindset. How do we differentiate between correct and erroneous mindsets? Famous psychologist Carol Dweck proposed that children with a fixed mindset believe their errors result from their inability to do the given task. On the other hand, a growth mindset encourages them to keep trying and getting better. They feel in control of the situation. So, Dweck considers the growth mindset to be the right one. A growth mindset means the child is focused on learning instead of getting rewards. Don't focus on your child's abilities. Praise their efforts and they will adopt the growth mindset. The second ingredient that forms motivation is a combination of autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Studies show that for a child to be motivated, they need to have a sense of control or independence. Competence is the feeling that we can succeed even though we may not be perfect in that skill. Relatedness is the feeling of connection to others. These 3 needs should be satisfied to build motivation in your child. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter that stimulates and energizes the brain for further tasks, is also a vital component of reason. The brain has a reward system that gets its fuel from dopamine. The final ingredient is flow. Encourage your kids to do the things they love. When they do this, they'll enter a state called flow. In this state, they don't care about the time spent and remain connected to the task. But at the same time, they're not stressed. Children are different, and it's unfair to control or compare them. Understand that men and women process dopamine differently. Girls are more empathetic and interested in school, so their dopamine levels usually begin rising earlier and remain high longer than boys' levels. Kids might also have mental health conditions that prevent them from concentrating or staying motivated. Key point 6. Your body needs adequate rest to function optimally. When you rest, you give your body time to recover. The brain also needs complete rest, radical downtime. Our culture does not encourage rest. There's always something to do. Excessive downtime does not mean watching movies or texting. It means doing nothing purposefully. It allows you to process information and think of the many activities in your brain. You need to alternate periods of activity with periods of radical downtime. You can do this while waiting for your order at a restaurant or dental appointment. Allow your kids to do nothing. Their day doesn't have to consist of numerous activities for them to succeed. You should think of yourself as a consultant to your kids rather than their boss or manager. William Stixrud, PhD, and Ned Johnson. Meditation is an excellent way to relax your mind and manage anxiety. Research shows that when children meditate frequently, they experience the same benefits as adults. An important form of meditation for children and adolescents is mindfulness. The scientist John Kabat-Zinn defines mindfulness as paying rapt attention in a specific way, purposefully, in the moment, and without judgment. All you need to do is monitor your thoughts and reactions. There's also transcendental meditation, during which a person repeats a sound without meaning. As a result, the mind relaxes and gains a new level of awareness. In the end, the meditator uses the mantra as a guide to a peaceful place in their mind. Kids who meditate often will experience reduced stress and a reduction in symptoms of many mental health conditions. With the existence of electricity and technology, people are getting less sleep, and sleep deprivation is becoming a huge problem. Without sleep, you're in for some serious health troubles. First, your sense of control weakens. Next, you're tired and it's hard for you to do your job. Research shows that sleep deprivation affects the body similarly to chronic stress. When you've rested, the connections between your brain and other body systems strengthen. If your child has trouble falling asleep, negotiate gently with them. Create a routine and ensure they are in a dark or semi-dark room when it's time to sleep. Key point 7. There's more to education than grades and classrooms. Many kids struggle through school. There's so much homework to be done, and teachers have less autonomy than they used to. School policies also fail because they don't increase the sense of control of the students and everyone involved. If children receive more independence, they get more involved during lessons. You can do this at home, too, by making choices available instead of just telling them what to do. Independence also encourages creativity. When free, you're not afraid to think outside the box. Creativity encourages kids to engage in art, which is great because doing crafts reduces stress. Such activities are a suitable coping mechanism to teach your kids. Creativity will allow them to handle problems with increased ease and innovation. If you want to give your children more of a sense of control, you'll have to let go of some yourself. William Stixrud, PhD, and Ned Johnson. As a parent, emphasize that your children are responsible for their education. Help them plan their schedules so they can control their learning. Encourage them to learn independently and teach what they have learned to someone around them. It's so easy for your child's school to become toxic to them. Sometimes they're just tired of all the homework they have to do. When a child is tired, they can't achieve much. This exhaustion also leads to tension and reduced happy moments. Encourage them by explaining the benefits of homework. While the school system has changed, students are still the same. Choose schools that care about your children's development and craft a suitable curriculum. Don't freak out if your child is not doing as much as you expect, because rushing their development is counterproductive. Good mental health should be a bigger priority than test scores. If schools and parents rely too much on standardized testing, they'll miss out on the other excellent skills their children have. Testing stresses teachers, students, and parents. Understandably, students are happier in classes that don't require grades. More emphasis should be on a healthy learning environment, motivation, and autonomy. Did you know? Finnish students have one of the highest educational outcomes in the world and the fewest homework assignments. Conclusion. It's hard to give your children some sense of control. We always want them to make the right decisions, so trusting them to choose good options is hard. But you need to. Trust their development and decide to ignore the many external pressures that exist. You must understand that humility, courage, and a positive mindset are necessary to be a good parent. You don't want your children calling you every hour in their adult lives to help them fix a problem. You want them equipped enough to solve dilemmas on their own. Your children will never forget how they feel around you, so it's up to you to create a healthy environment for them. Sometimes you must discuss this with your child's school and other family members. Do it. Your child can benefit greatly more when everyone is concerned about their growth. Finally, having a child with a mental health condition or learning disability is not a curse. Offer help, but don't force it. Work with their specialists to develop a routine that encourages their sense of control and tolerance. You have all the power to raise a self-driven child. Try this. Talk with your child and understand what they don't like about school. Then try to see how to fix it with the school's help. Be more aware of your stress levels and how they influence your children. Teach them and yourself healthy coping mechanisms that will help them handle complicated issues. And encourage your kids to be more self-aware.